Imagination is the application of creative thinking and individuality. That is where we get inventions and creativity and solving problems. That's where we have people who can think outside the box. And kids love to solve problems that they care about. And those problems occur naturally during play.
There was a very integral study in 1964 by Dr. Marion Diamond, and she was able to compare the activity of rats when it comes to those that were sedentary and those who were allowed to play and have important stimulation. The results of that study was that those rats who were allowed to play and have influential stimuli had bigger brains. They were able to understand cause and effect more rapidly than the rats that were sedentary. That research truly informed and affirmed that children should be able to play and explore, and that we should not be so rigid as you oftentimes see in a kindergarten or first grade setting in our traditional classrooms.
As parents, we see that if a child needs to be sitting down to learn, that is a misconception, because what's happening, the children are learning through play. They're learning also how to share. They're learning critical thinking skills to identify their emotions and also the emotions of others. And so you let the child be able to take that lead and let him, through discovery, come up with, why didn't it work? Well, I think it was this. Well, let's try something else. And let's see if that fixes the problem. Because what we don't want to do is to give them the answers. We want them to be problem solvers, and that's going to come in the form of asking them questions, because we want to know what they're thinking. And as parents, it's just ask.
It doesn't have to be unlearning if it's playful, and if it's fun, it doesn't mean they didn't learn something from it. So when we think about play in early childhood, we think about the whole child. Sometimes we have a tendency to think about learning as being segmented, little sub-skills that are linear. But that's not a very efficient way for young children to learn. But play really maximizes learning because it stretches across all the domains of development.
And at Collaborative for Children, we're trying to prepare children for kindergarten. And kindergarten in itself is a German word that means a child's garden. And when you think of a child's garden, it's a place of enchantment, of wonderment, of amazement and exploration. So the type of play that is conducive for young children to learn is one where a child is able to explore.
With the Collab-Lab, it's very open-ended, so it's mobile. It's going to get to go to different areas of our city and be able to target areas where parents and children can come in together and explore the different materials that they have in the actual bus.
Collaborative for Children designed its Collab-Lab specifically void of high-tech bells and whistles, because we want the child to be at the center of their learning, and we want to make sure that there's not a predetermined outcome or that there's parameter around the level of innovation for a child that's set in a video or film or video game. We want the child to be at the center of their learning. There is a child's ability to build blocks and build hydro cars with water and understand the volume of water that would make that car go. And we want them to understand that when they're building a robotics track, well, a child may go way off the target, and we want them to do that because we want to engage the critical thinking capacities and problem-solving capacities of a child to find roundabout ways to reach an ultimate goal.
At the preschool years, kids are developing rapidly those neural connections in the brain. And the more varied and the more heavily traveled those connections are, the more effective the thinking will be. So kids need varied experiences, lots of different experiences, so that they have future hooks to hang those future experiences on when they're learning. That's the kind of thing we need to reinforce for executive function during these critical years of 0 to 5. This kind of foundation for grit, persistence, managing oneself, seeing the big picture, all of that is really important to help kids have a successful life.